cannot explain just how horrific the scene is. It's a traumatic scene just to see.
Horror in this small gray home. Authorities say a Woodburn man killed 4 members of his own family before deputies killed him. This morning, neighbors are sharing what they know about the terrifying massacre. A hostile confrontation or misunderstanding? Reaction grows to this video of an apparent standoff between high school students and the members of the Indigenous Peoples March. Plus, the Rams and the Patriots are heading for the Super Bowl after both teams claimed thrilling victories in overtime. And a stunning spectacle in our skies. Americans got this incredible view of the rare superblood wolf moon. The 6 o'clock hour of KGW News at Sunrise starts right now. And we start in Pacific City with a little look at that moon, at least the glow of it there on the Pacific Ocean. That's a cool shot on this Monday, January 21st. I know a lot of you are off for the Martin Luther King holiday, so if that's you, enjoy.
Yeah, so good morning. Thanks for joining us. Lacey, I think with a lot of people off, traffic hopefully is a little light today.
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay, good. Well, let's see if the forecast is looking good.
Oh, that was easy.
It's on you.
Oh my God, I'm feeling overworked. All right, we have been sharing some of your photos as well of that super moon that we had last night, the total lunar eclipse. So stay tuned. We'll see if we can get some of those back on the air for you. 39 degrees, foggy areas this morning, 42 at lunchtime. One of those days where I'm not sure how many sun breaks we get or how many we do not see. Temperatures generally in the mid 40s. Here's a look at the fog map. A lot of fog between Portland and Salem, down around Eugene, Corvallis, Albany. Also, there's a patch over in Central Oregon around Madras. Your 7-day forecast, of course, shortly. Here's Lacey Evans.
And proof that it is so far so good. We'll show you some of the drive times. No problems out of Vancouver in Clark County. I-5 southbound still a speed limit drive between Main Street and the Fremont Bridge. 205 still looks good. SR 14 no problems there either. 205 up from Milwaukee to the Banfield looks good. Looks good in the south direction as well over the Abernathy Bridge, and no problems coming in from Troutdale on I-84, and over on the west side no major delays. Brenda.
Thank you, Lacey. The Woodburn community is remembering the 4 people killed in a horrific crime over the weekend. This is a live look at a tribute of flowers, wreaths, and candles outside the home where it happened. Sheriff's deputies say a man killed his parents, his girlfriend, and their infant daughter on Saturday.
Deputies say he was in the process of killing a second child, a little girl, when they shot and killed him. Investigators identified him as 42-year-old Mark Gago. They say the 8-year-old little girl is still in the hospital. A second woman who managed to escape was also taken to the hospital. We're told she was renting out a room inside that house, but then ran to a neighbor's house to get help. That neighbor wants to stay anonymous, but talked to us about the 911 call.
The scariest part for me was waiting for the police to arrive and not knowing if this guy was looking for the victim that was in my house.
Oh, so scary. We are also learning more about the victims. They're Gago's girlfriend, Shayna Schweitzer, and 9-month-old daughter, Olivia Gago. His parents, Jerry and Pamela Bramer, owned Bramer's Corner, which hosted local charity drives.
As you alluded to, there are a lot of questions, including why. We're going to be tracking this story throughout the morning. Tim Gordon will join us with a live report from Woodburn coming up in our next half hour.
It is 6:04 now. There are now 21 confirmed cases of the measles in Clark County. The health department added 4 new locations to the list of places where people may have been exposed to the virus. Take a look. Here they are. The Vancouver Columbia Tech Center on Friday, January 11th, the Slavic Christian Academy and Grace Point Church both on January 7th. Also Evergreen High School on January 9th. Now remember, these are just the most recent exposure sites. There are a lot more. There's a lot of information, so you can find the full list and all the details at kgw.com. Health officials also say students who have not been vaccinated should not go to school. So here's what else we've learned about the 21 people who have gotten the measles. 18 of them were not vaccinated. We aren't sure of the vaccination status of the other 3. Only one person who got sick is over the age of 19. Clark County has declared a public health emergency in response to this outbreak.
Today is day 31 of the government shutdown. Over the weekend, President Trump offered a deal to reopen the government. Democrats have already rejected it. NBC's Tracy Potts explains why.
President Trump's offer to reopen the government goes up for a vote in the Senate tomorrow.
This bill would reopen the government.
He's offering temporary protection for 1 million immigrants, refugees, and dreamers, those brought here illegally as children, in exchange for $5.7 billion for the border wall.
Straightforward, fair, reasonable, and common sense, with lots of compromise.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats call it a non-starter.
It's outrageous, and he's just playing politics, and this is a bad deal.
It was I think, an effort to prop up the president's sagging poll numbers.
Despite support from some Republicans.
Well, I think the president's put a reasonable compromise on the table.
Some conservatives are calling the president's offer amnesty for immigrants. No, amnesty is not part of my offer, he tweets, adding thank you to the 800,000 unpaid federal employees caught up in this shutdown. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
Okay, chances are you have seen this video. It went viral over the weekend. Well, it's from an Indigenous Peoples Parade over the weekend in D.C., and it shows a group of high school students. You can see one of them in the red hat there. Some people describe that right there as a hostile confrontation with Native Americans. But this morning, longer versions of the video have come out. They show a very different and much more complex picture of what happened.
The video shows another group was also at the parade, and they were apparently taunting the students, calling them racial slurs, reportedly. The students front and center in this video is speaking out. That is Nick Sandman. You can't really tell him in that video because all his classmates are around. You see him facing off there, or facing rather, a Native American elder. That is Nathan Phillips. Critics say the students in the video mock Phillips and specifically criticize Sandman, the student, for his smirking expression. By the way, he and his group were there for a completely different rally, an anti-abortion rally, when this all happened. But Sandman says he was not making fun of Phillips. He says he was trying to diffuse the situation after another group, the Black Hebrew Israelists, taunted the students. Phillips says he approached the groups with his drum in an attempt to keep the peace.
So obviously lots of different sides to this story, but a lot of you are leaving comments on Facebook about it. Lisa writes, I can't believe this happened. It is absolutely disgusting that such an honorable man, referring to Phillips, was treated this way. Eliza writes, that boy did nothing wrong in the video. Smiling is not a crime. Also, Kim writes, his actions speak loud and clear. The kid has zero respect. So we want to know what you think. This is our viewer voice poll of the day. The teens are students at a Catholic school in Kentucky. The school says it is investigating the incident and could expel the students involved. So today's viewer voice question, should the boys be expelled? Go to kgw.com/vote or click on the Vote Now tab in our KGW News app.
It is 6:08, time for some other news headlines in your morning rush. A pipeline explosion in Mexico has now killed 85 people. That's a new number. Just before the blast, you can see all the gas gushing out of the pipeline like a fountain. People rushed toward it with buckets to collect the fuel, and then it blew. Authorities say gas thieves drilling into the line caused the explosion. Fuel theft is an epidemic in Mexico, and townspeople say that particular line was a regular target. This morning, California Democrat Senator Kamala Harris announced her presidential bid. She is the first African American to enter the race. She says she chose today to share the news because she wanted to honor two of her heroes, Martin Luther King Jr. and Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman to run for president. Boy, has it been a rough holiday weekend for travel. Airlines have canceled more than 4,500 flights since Friday. The culprit is Winter Storm Harper. It's bringing heavy snow, rain, and strong winds from the Midwest to the Northeast. And that's your morning rush.
Okay, this next story, a lot of people might be heartbroken or, hey, celebrating. The Los Angeles Rams and New England Patriots are heading to the Super Bowl Super Bowl 53 after winning their conference championships. The Rams took on the Saints in New Orleans last night. Their kicker tied the game with 19 seconds left in regulation, and then he sealed the deal with his 57-yard kick in overtime. With a 26-23 win, the Rams are going to the Super Bowl for the first time since the year 2000. Later in the day, it was the Patriots taking on the Chiefs in Kansas City. That game also went into overtime. Patriots won the coin toss, and just 5 minutes into OT, they scored the game-winning touchdown. Now, for the third year in a row, the Patriots are heading to the Super Bowl. Fun fact about Sunday's games, this was the first time in history that both conference championship matches, or games rather, went into overtime. The Rams and Patriots will face off in Atlanta February 3rd.
Oh, poor Rod.
I know, Rod,
It is a Blue Monday just for this reason. The Patriots beat
Well,
the
I didn't. I can't remember the last time I turned the TV off so quickly. As soon as the Pats ran that in overtime.
Yeah.
Usually I kind of hang out. I like to see the two coaches meet, but I was like, click, I'm
done.
Hey, Kim.
Well, sorry, friend.
All right.